Okay, I'm here with Valerie. Thank you so much for volunteering to be able to make this one available by recording. It's always awesome and very heroic to do that, so thanks. We just had a quick little chat, just context-wise, but I haven't really got into what's up for you during this. So just kind of a opening poke around to find out how I might be able to assist with the stuff that I do. So anything come to mind for you? I think I've seen your name on some of the processing pop-ups, so you might have a sense of some of the tools or have some resonance with one thing over another. So let me know if that's the case.
Okay, well, we did some, I was present and actually working through the worksheet for Orphan Rescue. So
Okay.
we did a bit of that, and my subject at that point was anger during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing, I mean, I have tons of anger about this, all kinds of things, but I think the thing that's really hitting hard for me right now is I have a sense of spiritual betrayal. And when my husband passed about 7 years ago, and it's been kind of a rocky thing, but one of the things that we were working on before he got sick, he died from multiple myeloma, was raising our vibration. And it became clear to me that the way for him to most effectively raise his vibration was leave his body. And I have never been happy with that. And I'm one of these people who identifies as a light worker. I thought I was going to coast. I'm 57. I came to it, in my late 20s. I thought I was going to coast through my old age. And then surprise, surprise.
Your soul's like, no, you're here during this time. Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fucking play. Pardon my language.
It's all right.
I'm just so angry at having it presented to me this way. Just like, I wish Stephen hadn't had to die, and I wish I hadn't had to wait this long. And I've spent my entire life afraid of some major thing like this. I was 6 weeks old in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh boy.
So I come from a CIA family. So I have always had this incredible amount of fear, and I've spent years and years of my adult life trying to manage that. And got to a good place with it. And of course this happens. And I know, it's so much worse for everybody else.
Don't go there. Don't go there. Everybody's got their own stuff, and that's what we're here to do, is work yours. It's perfectly valid for you to have your own stuff, especially given what you just gave me contextually. Yes. I think all of us who are here, we're not saints, right? We're here on the 3D level that's our match. If we are saints, we're here to be helping and working it through, but I think that's rarefied ground, so. Anyway, I get two thoughts in terms of process. Three, actually. There's Orphan. I know you're already playing with Orphan Rescue. So what you said about Cuban Missile Crisis and also CIA family, I come from a military family myself. That's plenty of fodder there. So, and you may have already gone there. I don't think I want to go there with you, although there are certainly layers that we could do. I feel two things. Flip it, because that'll encapsulate a lot of layers, right? So we can get a lot done. And it's systemic, right? Because they're connected to each other. So we kind of see more of the web of how it's laid out. The other thing, it's not a map, it's more of it's non-dual. So it's transcending the polarities and accepting everything and welcoming everything. I just got off a session with somebody doing that. So we'll see. Let's try flip it. That's more the cognitive in a way, but I can take you other places so it's not too heady. And if I don't think that's going, then we're going to default over to unity approach. Okay by you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me bring up my flip it map and I'll share the screen. There'll be a video up on this one very shortly, working with somebody taking the non-dual approach. So that'll be up there. Let me go grab a flip it map file. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick save. Okay, and you saw this probably from the larger one, the process group, right? So yeah, different dynamic, obviously, doing it with a group than doing what we're going to do with you, drilling down for one person. Okay, let me just get my equipment here. There we go. Okay, it will get heavy. Don't worry. I'm not going to leave you in the heaviness, but I'd like to warn people it starts to feel like a sack of, cement on the shoulders as we go along, or can at times. So just know that's normal if that starts to happen. And so what I'm going to do, this is a Tuesday. We do two things. We get all the so-called negative stuff down. However it wants to come out, and F-bombs are fine by me. I'll just get Pat to, probably not fine by YouTube, so we'll just, well, yeah, that's right. We'll take them out if need be, but I like them for punctuation. So let it wrap whatever words want to come. We'll beep out what we need to later. And then we'll eventually, it's called a flip because we'll flip. It can't be a fake bypass thing, especially for somebody like you who knows the right words, right?
Yeah.
So, but we'll know because our nervous systems will tell us, because if it's just heady stuff, it's up in the head. But if it's really landing, our nervous system will tell us. I'll feel relief, and you will too. It will be very palpable. And if we're just playing, oh, I'm a good LOA person, we'll know because it's not like falling, right? It's not embodying in any way in our systems. And it's okay to poke around, and it's okay to know what you're supposed to do, and maybe an orphan not being able to do it. That's all okay. Okay, so one crass way to say it is devil angel, right? So we're miking up your angel, or we're miking up your devil right now. Usually it's the angel. So let's give the mic, and this is the one of these shoulders has got more the negative one going on, so-called negative, who's got fears or concerns or doubts and a bunch of stuff happening, anger, right? Let it rip. Mic that one up, and let's hear what it has to say in its specific language.
It's funny. I'm not comfortable with devil.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Only because I know that part is keeping me alive right now.
Let's find a better word. I'm so glad you said that, because this helps to, that's why I said it's crass, because it's, it's like using a 2x4 instead of a more refined, elegant tool. And so we need to, who is this then? What's the word?
It's not my parents, but it's kind of it definitely is. It's like if my family credo or my family presence had a personality, we're all together in this, and we're all going to try to survive this and protect each other. It's kind of that energy.
Okay.
So it's
well, it might be this first one, and it might be all of them. We'll see.
Okay.
But I'm going to just put your shoulders here. And so your shoulder, one will have the little angel. And the one, you've got kind of a tribe. You said like the family credo.
Yeah.
And by the way, just to talk to it and to talk to you, not making any of it wrong. This is survival stuff. This is, families do need to come together, and some of it can be kind of whack that doesn't serve us later in life. But some of it is very important and powerful. So we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So we'll keep the baby and we'll check the bathwater. Some of it might be a little funky and it goes and needs a revamping or a bubble bath or something applied to it. But a lot of it is going to serve. So thank you, Tribe, for showing up. And you exist because the people ahead of you figured out how to make things, how to survive and get through what they were getting through. So bravo to Tribe. Yeah. And some of these lessons that they imparted to you are going to be very helpful, and others need a tune-up. So,
right.
Okay. So with that distinction, very important distinction, now place the mic. And now what does this, it could be one, it could be all of them. Give the mic. Who wants to speak first? What's the concern or worry or whatever it might be? Anger statement?
Well, I'm an early adapter because of my nervous system. I pick up on danger early, prepare early. That part of my nature is telling me prepare early, stay indoors, try to remain on your feet and able to act, which is my hardest thing, is the right kind of action.
That's good. I'm getting it down. Prepare early, remain indoors, be prepared to act.
Be prepared to act. I'm feeling like I'm a little bit old for, bugging out, but I'm in a apartment complex where I don't feel safe because I'm surrounded by people in a certain density.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's driving me crazy, quite frankly.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm in Arizona. I forget how many, what our figures are today, but it hasn't fully hit here and no one's taking it seriously. And it's driving me absolutely crazy.
Let me get that one down. Good.
There's part of me that's really angry that because I was working on my health before this, because there's evidence that I've got reactivated Epstein-Barr just to make life interesting. And it's like, I feel like I can't take care of myself. I'm too old for this shit. That's another one.
I'm going to put that on another line. There's a little bit of it up above, but this is a different nuance with age. Okay. Too old for this shit. Good. Okay, doing awesome.
What else? Going back in my family, my parents obviously, my family is, has its own screw ups, but one of the things my parents were really good at was keeping us safe, almost to a fault. But even before that, my grandfather left Germany in 1926. You could see what's coming. That the other thing is that, he really could see what was coming. He had psychic gifts. And I feel very frustrated because one of the things that one of my themes in my life, I'm very attracted to stories, for example, movies like The Last Wave, where, ignore your psychic gifts at your own peril. And part of me is, I didn't read this soon enough. I didn't get myself into a safe place soon enough. And I actually, looking back, I could tell there was some kind of like irritation, dissatisfaction, almost boredom, depression that was happening 3 or 4 months ago, which was very similar to the depression I went through before 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
There was something going on and I could feel it and I thought it was me and I did not interpret it properly.
Okay. So signs 3 to 4 months ago, you're getting the signs and you're like flogging yourself for not putting the dots, not connecting the dots. And then you've got also here, there's ancestral stuff, just to point it out. There's another map I haven't shifted and you have shifted, which is the archaeology of beliefs. And so we'll tackle Grandpa, his stuff here. But if you got the Germany timeline in there, and you said the 19, he got out before it hit, right? 26?
Yeah, it was right when they were really having their depression. They were having their, that was the
pre,
right,
the lead up.
The wheelbarrows of Mark to buy a glove for
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the recession. It's got ancestral trauma with recession,
right.
Depression kicking up. Okay. I always say good when we get to the gnarly stuff. It's not good because you have it, but good you're identifying it. Like, good, we're really getting to some stuff here. Keep going. What else?
Well, I mean, the sidecar or the attachment to that is knowing what fascism looks like.
Yes, exactly.
And really being worried about my government right now.
Mm-hmm.
I did better yesterday because I stayed off Twitter, and I think possibly that's something I have to do.
Yeah.
I can't take in all this information and not have a way to act on it.
Getting that one down. Can't take in all this info without power to act.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well done. Reach him. What else do we got in there?
Well, we could just stay on that for
we'll come back to it. Yep.
Well, well, there's part of me that's like really comfortable with being here because I lived here for so long. I mean, in terms of, which is weird, but the minus part of my marriage was being with someone who is a reformed abuser, and we stayed home all the time. So I'm having no problem staying at home. Mm-hmm. But I'm having a really hard time looking out the window and seeing everybody go on, and frolic in the courtyard of my apartment building like there's nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I understand completely why they're doing it. On the other hand, I have lost my temper and yelled at my neighbors about this. And I feel like a schmuck for doing that. And fortunately, I yelled at somebody who I think heard me. God help me if they decided to act angry or threaten to me.
Right. What the reactions were. Yeah. Okay, very good. Got that layer. We'll come back to it. Let's go for another one. And we know it's especially when we get to this latter column, it really goes deep.
Well, a big chunk of this is I'm afraid of dying with my music in me. Having known from an early time that I was here to do something specific. As I said, I'm really pissed off that it took this long to get here. And I'm not a young person anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't want to die before I actually do my work. Now, it would be really nice if I knew what my work was. I still don't know. I'm one of these people who's walking around, a light worker walking around with a blindfold on. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing here. And I'm really tired of that. Quite frankly.
It's hard for us first waivers.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for the next one. That's good. I got it. We'll come back. I have lots to put on the coffee table for that one.
Well, there's also, it's funny. It was hard. I believe it was harder for me to be born than to die. I don't think that death is going to be the problem. I just hate to be in a lot of pain or agony. I really don't want to be hospitalized. with anything right now, but this particular death seems quite horrific.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. Death okay, but don't want pain or hospitalization.
Right. The other thing is I don't know anyone yet, and we haven't made our way out of the D list. We're up to maybe C or B list famous people who are starting to get this and die from it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know anyone personally yet, and I am not looking forward to that day. That is like the 3 o'clock in the morning call I don't want to receive.
Okay. Give me one more. What else you got in there?
Really are, and this has been true for the last 3.5 years. I'm really angry at the people I know who voted for Trump and made this all possible or stayed at home. The other thing is 108 million people in the U.S. stayed at home and did not vote in the 2016 election because they didn't see the difference between Trump and Clinton. And I've been angry about that for years. Particularly, I've got a neighbor who took care of me, showed up with casseroles after my husband died, and I've never been able to talk to her about this. And, I always thought, way back when he was like fighting with Iran and fighting with Korea, I expected us to have a nuclear exchange. In the last 15 minutes of my life, I was going to go over to my neighbors and scream at her. That's what I was fantasizing.
I love your humor, even with the pathos, right? Your humor is making myself laugh, but I don't want you to take it the wrong way that I'm laughing. But I so appreciate your humor and intelligence.
Coping mechanism. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And the fantasies running through the head of, oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, but underneath it, that anger at the Trump voters and those who didn't even bother to come out and vote.
Yeah, and I think anger at myself too for not taking politics seriously for this. I'm the same as like Generation Z right now. When I was in my 20s, I didn't follow any of this. It didn't begin to matter to me until I became 40, I think. And this has been happening in slow motion for a long time. And we just didn't give a damn. Yeah, it's really hard it's hard to watch that. It's hard to feel in part responsible for that.
Okay, so in there is I am responsible.
Yeah.
Or I bear some responsibility.
Right.
Yeah. I'll just write as a short little note to get to, even though I don't have the exact writing or wording correct. Okay, well done. Not easy to do a whole flip it and get them all out. And there may be more too. So we'll see as we do this layer, teaching you how to fish here.
Okay.
And I want to check on the verbiage of angel because we're going to go to the other shoulder. And I'll give you some options and you may have your own. Did you do the future self? I led one of those groups through the future self, the process, the larger process group. If you were there, that would be handy.
Okay, I had it bookmarked. I've been afraid to talk to my future self, quite honestly. So I'm working up to that. Okay. And there's a little bit of a charge on angel too, because in 2012, 2013, I was actually working on channeling and Stephen got sick and I asked them about it and they said, everything's fine. He's going to be fine. Now, from a spiritual point, he is absolutely fine.
Right. Yeah.
But
you read that the way we would read it in the 3D. Yeah.
I was really pissed off at them for saying that to me at the time. So,
is there anywhere you can access at this state of consciousness, right? Like we're playing here, we got your now self. I'll just write now down here.
Okay.
One way to do this is to go out into the future, right? Like, so angel doesn't work. That's okay. Right. Another one is future self. Even if you haven't done the future self, it may be one we can go to, as long as I put on there and your consciousness will accept it. Best case scenario, future self, right? That might be part of the fear of going to the future self, is like, might be a Armageddon future self and I don't want to know or see.
No, it's funny, it lands okay. And there's a part of me that really thinks I'm going to survive this and learn from it. Mm-hmm. So
you can access that.
I just feeling that. I feel it's there. It's just, there's part of me that's afraid of not being able to, to access that part or to actually get there.
Oh, okay.
Because there's still,
we'll see. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. And we'll see. But your reaction there just told me like, yep, okay, I got permission to use that one for now. And we'll see as we go along. If we need to tweak it, and the nice thing with the future self, these are states of consciousness that we're working with. I mean, they're in us, they're in you individually, and they're, I believe, in everybody and in the collective. So, we can work at this at different levels, but anyway, we'll see as we go along. I think there's some access there. If not, it's got a certain level of development, Valerie. So we may need to go to its future self or that one's future self. Like there's a whole chain of them, right? So I have never yet, knock on wood, encountered somebody who was willing to do the exercise that they weren't able to access a place of intelligence that had the answers. So we'll see. I'm perfectly willing for you to be the first one, but if not, I got some other ones up my sleeve. We can try to find what's authentic, right, for you. Not trying to bully in anything. I'm just trying to find what you can access within yourself that's true and congruent for you. Okay, let's try with this future self business. So now what we're going to do is go to the top of the list, and basically your mic on the other side. And the tribe might pipe up, and we might go back and forth here between tribe and future self. That's okay. But we're going to mic the future self. Hello, future self. Thank you for coming. You have any sense of, she might tell you, you might hear something, you just might get a blast of something from her. Because you've done the channeling stuff, Claire abilities. Some people see, some people feel, some people know, some people taste, smell, right? These whiffs of information can come in all sorts of channels and ways. So however it shows up from her to you is totally fine. You're going to be the translator. So the first one, future self. Valerie here in the now in 2020 with a bit of the gong show going on. The tribe is saying, her inner tribe is saying, prepare early, remain indoors, be ready to act. Mm-hmm. And see how the future self responds. The future self may have a thumbs up to that, like, okay, amen, yes. What does she say about that?
That seems a legitimate way to behave right now.
Good. Yep, that to me sounds, it's not that these things have to be complete opposites. Sometimes they totally agree. It's not resistance, it's wisdom. This is the wise thing to do. So what was her words? Did she say legitimate? Is that what she said? Legitimate thing to do?
Yeah, it's a good thing to do. It's legitimate.
Yeah. Legitimate, good to do. Okay, so she's giving you a thumbs up. It's an easy thing to do. Why not? Relatively easy thing to do. Okay, now we go to crap. I can't bug out. I'm too old to bug out, and I'm stuck in Arizona with these apartment dwellers around me. Dang it! So what does your future self say to that?
But we've already bugged out. I was able to sell my house last year very fast. So
you already liquidated.
Yeah, I already, which is why, I mean, I'm fortunate I'm not in debt right now.
So in a good position.
Yeah.
No debt. Already kind of sold the house, reduced down, so you really took care of your expenses.
Right.
Okay, good. Anything else that she says, particularly about the density part of it?
Yeah, I'm getting that it's we can remain positive about this. I mean, I do have friends in other apartments, and I am communicating with them.
Okay, so part of this density is good. So part of the density is there's friends.
There are friends around me.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you, future self. Nice. Now we go to the next one. It's those other people. Nobody else has taken this seriously. And this is driving me crazy.
It's about managing good old expectations. And having compassion for everybody.
Yeah.
In this. They're doing the best they can. The neighbor I yelled at did take this seriously. She changed her behavior. And, I do see people responding to this well, or with caution.
Okay. Great. So. Very good. Thank you, future self. Now we go to the next layer underneath that, which is I can't take care of myself.
Well, that's not true. Yeah, at the moment I am. At the present moment, I am doing the absolute best I can.
Right. And that's all we have is the present moment, right? We don't know. The scenario can change on us. Then you recalculate. But right now, you are taking care of yourself. At the present moment, you're okay.
Yeah.
Anything else that she shares from her perspective about, the tribe or the gremlin in there who's saying, you can't take care of yourself in this situation with neighbors around and not able to bug out?
Not really. No. It's like I'm doing the best I can.
Good.
And sometimes I do feel secure. So it's holding
good.
on
It's
to
not all moments. There's some moments you're feeling very secure. Good. Okay. Now we go to I'm too old for this shit.
Well, as you get older, you do have to take care of yourself more, and you know what to do. You're capable of doing it.
Capable. Know what to do.
Yeah. My secret superpower is that I can learn anything really fast. So I'm a quick study, and I can get my hands, my mind around the information I need in any given moment.
This is the big brain. Got that big brain, and here's the hands. Yeah, reading stuff or researching stuff. You can find out what you need quick. You got a network. Okay, very good. Thank you, future self. Now we go, wait a second here. There's, with this tribe, there's ancestral roots going back to Germany with their recession and depression. And there's also, with this tribe, psychic gifts, psychic abilities, which we know do run through genetics. And he ignored gifts, or he actually didn't, did he? He listened.
No, he didn't.
He got out of there. But the message is don't ignore if you do ignore your gifts, it'll be at your peril, right? So he's like, hey, we have gifts, pay attention to them. And now you're kind of kicking yourself. Your next one is here. I did get signs or something happening for me 3 to 4 months ago, but I didn't quite know how to read it. And so I didn't do some stuff, apparently. Right. So let's take back to future self and see what she wants to say about this stuff. What's her take on it? Because there's part of it gets a whiff of it, and it, you know, this is just our coping mechanisms, and the ancestral safety mechanisms are going, smells like a recession, smells like a depression. We've smelt this before in our DNA, right?
Yeah.
So what does she say? Is this? I don't know if it is or not. What does she say?
Yeah. What if you did respond? What if you really are in the best place you can possibly be? Because I did. I was able to sell my house very fast, 8 days from when I finally, it takes me forever to get to move on stuff.
But
I finally threw everything in a closet so I could show the house, and the perfect people walked into it.
Cool. So she's saying, actually, you have been listening to your gifts.
Yeah.
You sold your house fast. You got yourself out of debt. You got yourself solvent. You know, you got yourself fluid.
Right. And when it became apparent that we were going to have to quarantine, which occurred to me early, like 2 weeks before everyone started preparing, I was preparing, and I have a 2-bedroom apartment. I was moving stuff out of storage so that I would be able to function here. I'd be able to exercise. I've got a nice bare wall for fundamental.
The graphic stuff. Good. We're going to do that. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Got logistics set up. So she's like, this is kind of bogus with the I didn't pay attention. Actually, you did. And you were ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Now, what about this stuff about Germany and the recession and depression and grandfather?
Okay, I'm getting a hit from my other grandparents. My other grandparents lived through the Spanish flu. And both of them were engaged to other people, and their fiancés died.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's how they got together. And in other words, it's about responding. It's about responding to the information the situation you're put in and the information you're getting. My paternal grandfather moved from Germany when he could see what was happening. My maternal grandparents ended up getting together.
I also hear in there, if this was my dream, and it doesn't have to be for yours, so I just lay it on the coffee table. So I hear kind of good luck, bad luck, who's to say, in a way you wouldn't exist without the Spanish flu.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
So who knows, right, these things, not to take away the trauma and the significance of losing early partners and then reforming into new families, right? However, there's a genetic that has followed suit from there that results in you. And who knows what is happening in a similar capacity. First off, we don't need to jump to the conclusion yet because we don't have all the data. Is this going to be a Spanish flu type thing? Is this going to be a recession depression type thing? Don't quite know yet. At least I don't. Maybe you might have some info, but you know, but again, my shoulder would be saying, yeah, don't go there yet. Not necessary to go. We don't have the data, right? Back to your thing about once you have the info and once the indicators are going do danger, Will Rogers, in a real way, right? Indicator data wise, then you can go into that plan of, oh shit, this is Spanish flu proportions. Oh shit, this is recession. Oh shit, this is depression, right? But it's kind of, for now, it's put on to simmer, just like, okay, not ready, watching, calculating, but not getting those indicators yet.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, that's what would do it for me, but let's see how it's lined up for you. What does she say? Future self, anything else around why this is coming up about Spanish flu and recession and depressions? There's legitimate stuff in the lineages on either side, right? That would evoke in a situation like this.
Yeah, I'm concerned about not being able to see enough soon enough to act. And what I'm getting is you have the information that you have, and you can't respond until you're there in the tunnel.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next layer.
Okay.
We know what fascism looks like. The family has deep connection with it for multiple reasons, having lived through different things, and then also their profession. They're very aware of what fascism is about.
Yeah.
And so that's in your system. And so when, again, it gets a whiff of this thing and it starts to run scenarios, it goes, uh-oh, fascism alert, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I understand that one, being raised by military and poli-sci guy. Yeah.
Well, my father was CIA OG, so he was in OSS. He fought Nazis and he fought the Soviet system, and part of me is like, he didn't fight for this to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe just acknowledge that it really is a scary thing.
Yes, good.
It really does exist.
Yes, good.
We're really having this problem now?
Yes, it does exist. It is scary. Check with future self, because I'm thinking that's coming from her. See, back to, it's not always resistance, it's wisdom. So, having your spidey senses alert to fascism is wise and intelligent if one doesn't get carried away and snowballed on it, but it's wise.
Yeah.
Anything, she might not be able to answer, but are we in a fascism? Is this situation that you're in right now in this moment fascism?
What I'm getting is we still have possibilities.
Yeah.
We still have a timeline. It's not over till it's over.
Yeah. So you can't call it yet. It's being created as we speak from all sorts of people, and you doing your inner work certainly helps. Okay. And I'm going to put the timelines, possibilities / timelines. Okay. Thanks, future self. Whew, now we go to information overload. I can't take this all in without being able to have that power to act. It's kind of excruciating, right? To take all this, then the nervous system will take in and read the threat and needs to act, but you can't act. So it's very challenging. What's the future self say to all this?
Well, it's kind of what they advise you to do in as a political activist, is to act locally.
Mm-hmm.
You
did. You yelled out your window. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did actually.
Mm-hmm.
I did. But it's about what can I do with what's in front of me, as opposed to, I can't watch.
Well, that might be it. What does she say about media?
And no, don't even, don't even go there. Turn off. It just take big fat breaks from Twitter, because Twitter is full of. I mean, I love I love some of the people I follow on Twitter, but
it's a certain culture. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the people I follow are the canaries in the coal mines that have been screaming about this for, 3 years. And actually, they're the ones that got me off my duff. So I shopped early.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me like the most constructive thing I can do now maybe is follow local news and see how things are going locally.
Okay, very good. Yep.
Rather than and focus on that and focus on, the friends of mine locally who are making masks and, delivering stuff to people. And, am I willing to go get the 100 yards of 1/4 inch elastic out of storage to give to a friend of mine who's making masks? Probably I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's something constructive I can do.
Yep, good. There's the action, getting it down to those local actions, something that's actually within your power that you can do that contributes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, future self. Beautiful. Okay, those people outside frolicking.
Yeah. One of the things that my husband and I learned, because everybody has a troublesome neighbor sometime in their history. There's always some guy who's like a total fuckhead.
Yeah.
And we were actually in a suit with our next door neighbor in the previous house. And at one point we decided, and I think this contributed to Stephen's illness too, but at some point we decided we don't like the people we've become. In other words, we're like hijacking our nervous system to get pissed off at this guy, when really there's nothing more we can do. The lawyers have talked, the settlement's been done, we got to let this go. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. If I've written a letter to the front office and they're taking it seriously, and I know they are because of the tone of the communication I'm getting, I've spoken to the neighbor who was a real problem, who was like hanging out on my front door, by my front door. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
And just if it annoys me, I can turn if I hear them, I can turn the radio on. If I don't want to see them, I can shut the shades. Mm-hmm. But there's not a lot, if they're physically threatening me, if they're walking within 3 feet of me, I'll say something.
Yeah.
But I can't do more than that.
Yeah. And then back to the awareness about the importance of your nervous system, right? And so if you get entangled with it and you go up that vibrational scale, anger is better than the turning in the grief, right? But it's still going to get you in trouble long term. And now it's just really important to congruently and authentically emotional manage so that your nervous system is as calm a place as it can be. Okay, so I wrote the letter. I spoke to the neighbor. It's all I can do. You said earlier, let it go.
Yeah.
Can I put that? Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. Because there's nothing, if I can come up with another constructive solution, I'll do it. But I did everything I could do.
Okay, good.
And, I really feel they're aware of this in the front office and their hands are tied. So, they've listened to me, which is like huge.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
back to the mic to the future self. See if there's anything else she wants to pass along. Well, it's their pandemic response. As long as they're not threatening me, I just can't plug into it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that'll be there depending on what happens and actions they took. That'll be their consequences if it turns out to be consequence-y worthy. Good. Yeah. Okay, now we go to another layer underneath, very important layer. We talked about aging has popped out in multiple places here. Now I'm going to die before my song gets out of me, my music gets out of me. Mm. I don't know what my purpose is, right? I'm a light worker without a mission, seemingly. The message I've always gotten is to take a small action. Mm-hmm. And in the process of
taking the action, you will get guidance, but you can't wait for the guidance first.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been getting this message over and over and over. I'm looking up on my wall. It's actually written on my wall. The more action I take, the more guidance I get.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to do that before you get motivated even. Just do it. So whatever that is, if it's doing yoga, you know, if it's, you know, opening lesson 3 of the course and just working through it and just suspending my belief that this is not going to help. Just take the action anyway. Pick up the paintbrush, whatever it is.
Anything else, future self?
Well, I don't get to know what my project. I don't get to know what my maybe I don't get to know why I'm here specifically. Maybe I just have to follow the breadcrumbs.
Okay, good. I'm going to put something on the coffee table and up to you about whether you want to pick it up.
Okay.
And what comes up for me, I'm struck by multiple things that you've been working here and doing the inner work, but particularly what you came up with the people frolicking outside and the shift in you to go, okay, I've done all that I can do. Now I've got to let it go, right? Like that maturity to actually be able to work that edge, to me, that's soul work, right? Like those sort of things and what you're doing throughout the course of this flip it work, to me, that's light worker work. I mean, there's not very many people who are using this circumstance to do their inner work. You're one who raised their hand to do it and to share your work, right? Like that's light worker work. So these things aren't small from a soul perspective. I can certainly see from a spiritual perspective of how very wisely a soul would plunk us into these situations, regardless of, you know, not everyone needs to be the rock star or the super uber heroic, seemingly normal heroic thing, right? There's all of us add up to a massive wave by doing our seemingly small things. They're not small from the soul's perspective. They're massive.
Well, I actually had to have a friend of mine say to me like a week or 2 ago, you don't have to do this all by yourself. You're not here to save the planet all by yourself.
Yeah, and exactly.
For some reason that hadn't occurred to me.
Yeah, and then we always think we have to do some big, huge thing, right? If that's it, then it's heroic. No, it's if everybody does their thing, like you're saying, right in front of them and does it from that aligned place, there's a whole team, there's a whole ground crew.
Yeah.
And do your bit.
Yeah.
And trust the process. If circumstances have led to this, well, that's your bit, right? Like, do what's in front of you.
Right.
My bit is doing this, right?
Right.
It's like I can't do it in person anymore. As long as the internet holds, I have the wonderful ability to work with teammates to help us figure out our bit and do it.
Okay. Yeah. Fingers crossed for the grid and everything else. I can't even go there.
Yeah, I didn't mean to stir that one up. But then what would the thing be? Like, okay, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And we might not be.
Yeah.
That may be a big nothing burger, as the saying goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We will see. Now let's go to the next layer. I'm okay with death, but not so okay with pain and hospitalization. No, thank you.
Well, first of all, you know, I've always thought, as I said, death is going to be easy, and I really think I'm going to go fast. I don't think that's going to be my problem. Yeah, I don't know if if this is denial or you know, I'm for lack of a better term, gaslighting myself, but I don't think that that's an issue.
Okay. Don't think it's an issue. Check with future self.
Well, yeah, there are still things I could do to guard my health.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And there's information coming out now about successful ways to manage if you get this.
Mm-hmm.
And enough people have described how it feels and what it's like to there's information out there on how to navigate it.
So if you did find yourself in that situation because of the information you already have, when some of those indicators start to show up, you could reassure yourself, oh yeah, this is what shows up. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to result in death. Doesn't necessarily mean that one can't make it through this.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things I've heard, a friend of mine's a public health doctor who thinks she had it early. Because she was in the room with someone who just come back from China, and the way she described it was she thought she was going to die. And this is not a person who is,
yeah,
that kind of thing. But apparently there's like this huge sense of like people get really terrified when they get this. That's part of it. So if you can navigate that, it helps. There's part of me also that, when we're talking about dimensional stuff, and I've studied a little bit of that, it's like viruses or the second dimension. I don't know if you've ever heard that theory.
A subtle energy level.
Yeah. But they don't have an agenda except evolution.
Right. It's not personal.
It's not personal. Their agenda is to replicate, but they're a tool of evolution. That's why we are the complex human beings that we are, because of viruses. So.
All those frames can help if they land authentically for you. Good. There's, I posted on my Facebook a couple of whenevers back, animal communicator. There's been several of them that have been in channels and stuff that have been communicating directly with the coronavirus. But this animal communicator one, I liked his take on it. And it's a cleaning function. So that particular virus is a cleaner. And it will obviously hit some people's systems deeper because of what needs to be cleaned. Or maybe it's too massive of a cleaning, right? So it results in death for people. Teach their own whether something lands, but it's interesting to read the different takes on things, especially the more metaphysical takes.
Yeah. Initially I was afraid of reading that kind of stuff because of the potential for spiritual bypass. And I'm very careful about, if I say something like this, I can say that to you, that, viruses are not personal. And we can kind of talk about how it's functioning, but you have to be in the right place.
Yep. This is very, very individual. So, and what we're working right now is how is it lined up in your nervous system and your belief system, and what brings relief, and not from, if a spiritual bypass can give you relief, great. But I'm more interested in what is congruent, and at this point in time, right? What it is at this point in time? At this point in time, you are not, and may not ever be, sick with this particular thing. You're not at this moment, to your knowledge, dealing with this virus. So it's, we're interacting with this from this moment of time.
Right.
As it progresses, you don't know. None of us know, right? How will we act in the moment of we are sick, or what are our symptoms? What is the state of the healthcare support that we're able to access at that point in time, right? now all those scenarios are question marks or hypotheticals or probabilities, you know, like it's not here right now. Not to belittle it, that if those indicators would happen and those scenarios show up, what does the future self say? If we were to do, if we were to go into a timeline where that happened, what does she say about that? If there was to be pain, if there was to be hospitalization, if there was to be death.
I feel like lucky that I've already been there because of what my husband went through.
Yeah.
And both my parents are dead now. It's like I've had the major losses. And you know, the way through it is through.
Yeah.
And it's about being what you need to be in the moment. Yeah, it's funny because the middle of the night phone calls, the big one was my mom, and we've already done that.
Yeah.
So
I put that one down there, have had the major losses.
Yeah.
And you know, this is back to good luck, bad luck, who's to say, right? Like, you kind of went there with the Spanish flu, and if the Spanish flu hadn't happened, you would never result. You would never have been birthed or right. Existed.
Right.
And good luck, bad luck, who's to say, with having gone through major losses, having lost your husband in the way that you did, having lost your parents now, that's wisdom, that's experience, that's very precious, tender stuff, right?
Yeah.
And everybody is going to encounter, unless they are the one who leaves very fast and very young, they're going to encounter that. Maybe not from this particular circumstance, right? But I guess what I'm learning as I go through those things in my own life with losing people and beings close to me is it as huge as the grief is, there's also this knowledge that comes and this maturing and growth that comes with me, with that whole process, right?
Yeah.
Which I think, you know, life is about. Let's go back to yours and see. Anything I ever say, sort through it and see what lands for you. Anything else from the angel about, I don't want to receive those middle of the night calls? What does she say?
It's like I said, been there, done that.
Yeah.
You know, I still don't look forward to.
They're not great to get. They're not going to be a happy circumstance if that's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. My first, and I've been putting it off, but my first response is to make sure that my stuff is in order, and that my next of kin can get it. And I think that's just generally a good idea. Yeah.
Pragmatic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an action I can take to make it easier for other people around me. And then, you know, maybe light a fire under my happy-go-lucky brother and make sure that he has everything in order.
Okay. Put your own house in order. Yeah. Okay. Now we go down to the bottom layer here, and we get into Trump and Trump voters and those who didn't vote.
Don't take away my anger. It's the only thing that kept me wanting.
Oh, you're doing this work for so many people, Valerie. Yeah.
Yeah. And no, it's true. So I've been dealing with chronic fatigue and Epstein-Barr and wacky hormones since I went into menopause, and my cortisol spiked at one point, and then my cortisol disappeared completely. I mean, it's that kind of thing. But truly, for months, the only way the way you could get me out of bed was I'd start thinking about it, and I'd get so angry I'd got up and started moving.
So it served a good purpose.
Yeah,
Maybe it's outdated now. Well, now it's going to be detrimental because you have to watch your nervous system even more.
Right. Well, it's pick your battles, right?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
choose your battles. I'm not going to convince the neighbor, and I've moved away from her, and I don't necessarily need to engage with her that way.
Go to the angel instead of us doing it up in our heads. Go to the angel, or go to the future self, not the angel. What does she say from her perspective? She's out there. She's made it through this. So what did you do, future self, about the Trump stuff? Did you let it go, or to what extent were you able to frame it differently, or what did you do?
It's using anger constructively and dealing with that orphan who thinks everybody should behave a lot better.
Very, very good. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, good. So you're recognizing too, there's an orphan in there. You're probably on that call where I was telling people about, if you did the orphan call, I was like, those of you with the Trump stuff, work it, use it. Because doesn't mean it takes away. If that's a legitimate thing, that'll still stay there. And then you get into constructive action about what's right for you around it. But boy, it helps to get in there and see what those layers are about and who he reminds you of. There's somebody or something's in there from the past. Yeah. Go heal those, then see what happens.
Yeah.
Good work. Now there's a deeper layer in here. Underneath it was, I didn't take politics seriously earlier on. I feel responsible. What's the future self say about that?
Well, no time like the present to start taking it seriously, but also maybe a little bit of gratitude for the system being so robust for so many years.
Okay, great.
Because it really, it took a while to fall apart. The writer Tom Wolfe used to say about America, if somebody, every 20 years we used to have somebody taking a pot shot at the president. Some of them were, successful, some weren't. But, even if a president was successfully assassinated, the message was, what a stable country. I mean, we really were. JFK's assassination pulled us all together and we kept going. Yeah, I don't know.
So maybe a bigger picture unfoldment is what I'm hearing, that you're maybe able to access from here, a bigger picture unfoldment.
And, I'm aware that this system has not been good to everybody. I'm white. It's been good to
got some privilege.
My family. There's still potential here to be better.
Okay, good.
And that's a good thing. We can
and I hear you saying that's something you can focus on. Like, there's a process at work here for systemic change. And if I'm being you, I can say I'm sorting where I fit. I'm getting clarity. I'm using that anger instead of turning it outwards on those people. I'm using it to fuel me about where's my place, where's my action, where's my thing to get involved in.
Right.
And that, hey, we're in a democracy. So apparently if that's all functioning, then that results, again, back to those bits, everybody does their little bit, then you'll see where things go. And maybe that respect too for people, even if one believes that bit or the way they're going about it is wrong, just that respect for people to be in their own process about what they think is right. That's a democracy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, well, we won't talk about who's been poisoning the well, but we used to have discussions about all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And you needed both. You need both, you know, progressivism and conservatism. You know, it used to be the Democrats had these really wacky ideas, but it was the Republicans who actually implemented them over time. Mm-hmm. And that has broken down.
The role of the opposition, yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
in politics.
The noble, mm-hmm. Right. The noble opposition.
Moves the edge, moves the nut forward in terms of certain issues.
Yeah. Well, you know, I may be romanticizing it, but not only my father, my uncle was in the CIA, my extended family, my sister-in-law works at the War College, my brother repaired the printer in the White House, in the White House kitchen. Most of my extended family has done government service work. They're all in the DC area. Mm-hmm. And it used to be that, you know, yeah, they all belong to different parties, but they all work together. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping we can go back to that.
That dignity and respect. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got the end of your flip it.
Okay.
And so what we're doing is we're going back and remembering when you first came in, and then we did a bunch of stuff, and now we're here. So it doesn't mean that this magically changes everything, but it probably does something. So is there anything that you notice with your state, your nervous system, how it was and where you are at this point in time?
It feels like I have a handle. And it's almost like physically like, okay, you know, it's like something I can grab.
I can hold this. Yeah.
I can hold this. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
And it's not like none of this isn't true. It's, you know, it's not either or, it's both and.
Exactly. It's more mature, it's sophisticated, right? It's not the polarity. It's the unity of it.
Right.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for doing your inner work.
Oh, you're welcome. And yeah, thank you for this was a really wonderful demonstration of how this works. So useful to me too, professionally.
That's right. We operate at different levels. So
yeah,
we're the human being, then we're the process professional, and same thing for a lot of people who swim around my stuff. We're operating at those various levels. So let us be human beings, everybody, and then our process professional can be curious of what's going on process-wise. Good. Yeah. Okay, well, I will do a little tidy up on the map, and I'll send it your way, and okay. I'll follow up with you via that email. Take good care, and you know where I am.
Yeah.
We'll see you in another process group. Very welcome. Thank you. Bye for now.